All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Jose Trujillo. Let's get ready to start this. I'm gonna paint some water lilies. I hope you guys enjoy this little segment here. So my approach is again, it's very simple, and it really just has to do with not minding too much what you're doing. Usually when we're painting, we start thinking too much. Many artists, not everybody, but many artists start thinking too much, and we're being conditioned to just pretty much overthink everything. And my approach is, you don't have to think of everything, you don't have to overthink it. You don't even have to think about it. I like to use lots of texture, and you'll see right now. So I'm going to start out by painting those lilies. I'm going to use some Viridian green, some yellow, and just start jumping a little bit. You see I'm jumping a little bit. And I'm here, down here, and then I move. Look at that. Thank you. There you go. My wife really loves me. My coffee. So here we go, check it out. The whole point of this is to paint no matter what. I think many of us get stuck in how do we paint, what subject matter, and on and on. And honestly, that's one of the hardest hurdles to jump as an artist, because it doesn't really matter. And I know that many of you may disagree with me, but I really believe that it doesn't matter. I think that it's a mental trap when it comes to choosing your subject matter, or the paint that you're using, or anything. And so it's just a little mental trap. What's really happening is the mind is trying to make sense of the work that it's being or the stress that has been put into And it's not really stress, but the mind wants to keep things exciting. And painting is exciting when you feel, when you have that urge, when you feel inspired. But when you don't, it's not very exciting. It's very monotonous work. It's very repetitive. It's the same thing over and over. And I'm not talking about the same thing as in the subject matter or anything like that. No, it's the same thing as the same brush work, the same simply being in front of the canvas and doing something over and over. It becomes very repetitive. But it's an exercise, you know. That is the job. The job is very monotonous. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And so I think a lot of us as artists, we struggle with that. We want it to be different all the time. We want it to be exciting all the time. And it cannot be that all the time. It cannot be different. It cannot be exciting every single time. As a matter of fact, it's almost never different and exciting, except for very rare moments. It becomes that for most of us. And it usually becomes very different and exciting once you put in a lot of hours during a week or something, and then it starts becoming very quote unquote exciting, you know. But then it goes away. That feeling goes away, and then I think that artists really struggle with that. Honestly, that's if I could say one thing that artists have the hardest trouble with, is doing work that is not exciting. And so many artists say, well, why would I want to do that? The whole point of being an artist is because I wanted to do exciting work. I think it's true, but I also think that the work that you believe is exciting leaves, the excitement leaves very fast, especially once you start putting in those hours, those days. It stops becoming exciting, and now it's a matter of pulling through and getting the work done. And I honestly believe that is the hardest part of being an artist. It's the consistency. I've been talking about it for a while now. It's the lack of consistency that artists have, whether it be, and this is not everybody, but my guess is 99.9% have a hard time with that, because it's not exciting. You know, it's the same thing. Even if you're choosing a new palette or whatever, very soon a new subject matter that excites you, very soon, if you keep doing it, it becomes not exciting anymore, and then you have to switch over again. But you can't constantly run for that high, because it goes away very fast, you know. That high of things being super exciting, it goes away very fast. And again, I think that's what makes it so it's both. It's what makes it beautiful. It's why we want to paint, but it's also why we don't want to paint. Why we want to paint is that initial excitement. And why we don't want to paint, or we don't want to follow through, it's because it becomes, you know, it becomes the same thing. It becomes monotonous. And so in the beginning, you get really excited, you get pumped, and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this painting, and I'm gonna work on this series of work, and on and on. But once you're doing it, and that high goes away, that initial high that got you there goes away, most artists let that go. Well, they come back to it, right? But they come back to it days later, months later, years later. Many even come back to it months, years later. And if you're a career artist, you probably can't even let it go for days. You know, you might be able to get away if you have multiple things you're working on at the same time. But even that, I've experienced very sour moments even doing that, because you can easily fall off the wagon and not realize it. So there it is. Hope you guys enjoy this little segment. My name is Jose Trujillo. I'm an artist. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you soon.